Primary day in Virginia is close to wrapping up. You have just under an hour left to cast your vote if you haven't done so.
There are major races on the ballot, and whoever wins will represent their party in the general election in November. We do have live team coverage of key races tonight. Shane Fordham keeping a close eye on the race for Attorney General. Madison Schlegel checked in with candidates running for Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney.
And Alex Littlehales is tracking the crowded field. 6 contenders in the race for Lieutenant Governor. And let's start with Alex live from Norfolk tonight.
Well, in 1 hour, polls close here in Virginia, and just about a half hour begins the official campaign watch party with State Senator Aaron Rouse as he tries to, as you had mentioned, become the Democratic nominee in a field with 6 candidates for Lieutenant Governor. So we've been communicating with the Director of Elections here in Virginia Beach, and here's a little bit about what we know about the voting patterns here in the city for this primary election cycle so far. So we know that in 2021, we were told that there were 17,000 Democratic votes cast for this statewide primary. Okay, so we're comparing apples to apples right now. So today, votes cast for this primary, as of about 2 hours ago, we were at 6,800 votes cast. So again, the big takeaway from this, we are told, is that early voting numbers are a lot higher than they were 4 years ago, the last time there was a statewide election. But early voting, day of votes themselves, there's a lot of ground to be made up in the next hour if it's just going to match what we saw in 2021. Why this matters: there's 6 candidates all vying for 1 seat. We are told that basically a high turnout in one metro area could swing this election for either of the 6 candidates. We spoke to all of them earlier last week, and here is what some of them had to say heading into tonight's primary.
I pushed and secured budget amendments in the form of the Earned Income Tax Credit. I passed bills to not only to support our military community and members.
And I've already begun to respond to the chaos of Washington. I introduced legislation to respond to the Medicaid crisis that is coming in front of us.
There's one thing to say, you know what, I sponsored this legislation or I took a vote. It's a different thing to say, I've identified a problem, I presented a solution, and I implemented and executed on those ideas. And I think no one else in this race brings that experience to the forefront but myself.
So back live here in Norfolk, you just heard from State Senators Aaron Rouse, Ghazala Hashmi, and the former mayor of Richmond, LeVar Stoney. Again, we are just about a half hour away from Aaron Rouse's official watch party to see if he gets the Democratic nomination for Lieutenant Governor tonight. Live in Norfolk, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
All right, Alex, thank you. And another statewide race on the ballot today. 2 candidates are running for the Democratic nomination for Attorney General. Former State Delegate Jay Jones and Henrico Commonwealth's Attorney Shannon Taylor.
The winner will face incumbent Republican Attorney General Jason Miyares this November. Shane Fordham is following this race. He joins us live in Norfolk with more. Shane.
Well, Dana, Janet, both Democratic nominees, Jay Jones and Shannon Taylor, say if elected, they'll be focused on standing against the Trump administration's current policies, along with current Attorney General Jason Miyares' refusal to challenge them. Now, just a few minutes ago, we caught up with Hampton Roads native and candidate Jay Jones, who says he'll be running his campaign based on the foundation of his experience as an assistant attorney general for Washington, D.C., and as a former House delegate for Virginia. His opponent, Shannon Taylor, is running her campaign based on the foundation of her 30 years of experience as a prosecutor, which includes 4 contested victories. Jay Jones is currently endorsed by former governors Ralph Northam and Terry McAuliffe, while Shannon Taylor is endorsed by former attorneys general Mark Herring and Mary Sue Terry. Both candidates say if elected, they plan to join other Democratic attorney generals across the nation in suing the Trump administration to protect federal workers, something they say Jason Miyares should have done.
We've got to push back on the excesses and overreach of what we're seeing in Washington. We need leaders who are going to step up and protect us and fight for us and work for us and do the job that we ask our public officials to do. And we've not gotten that from our statewide officials here, especially in this new Trump administration.
We know that our current Attorney General is not interested in protecting Virginians because he is letting these executive orders coming from the administration go unchallenged. And what we know is by not challenging these executive orders, we have our federal employees being impacted, our veterans being impacted, our seniors being impacted.
Both Jay Jones and Shannon Taylor say if elected, they are committed to strengthening the Civil Rights Division within the General Attorney's Office. I'll have more updates for you on this race throughout the evening. Live in Norfolk, Shane Fordham, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Shane. Also on today's primary ballot, some local House of Delegates races and races being held in certain cities.
Yeah, and that includes the race for Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney. Incumbent Ramin Fatahi is facing challenger John Butler. Madison Schlegel is live in Norfolk with the latest on that race. Madison.
Dana, Janet, with just under an hour left to vote, the race for Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney is really heating up. We've got two Democratic candidates who are vying for their spot in the election that's in November. We've got those candidates, again, like you had mentioned, incumbent Ramin Fatahi and former federal prosecutor John Butler. And in the months leading up to the election, they sat down and hosted a debate together where they talked about some of those key aspects that they said were most important about the race for Commonwealth's Attorney. Those priorities include diversity, equity, and inclusion, which they both say are big aspects of their campaign. Fatahi says that he prides himself on lowering crime during his tenure in Norfolk, but Butler says that there's more work to be done to properly evaluate and prosecute cases in the city. Here are what both Fatahi and Butler say are important key aspects of their campaigns.
Jobs and good blue-collar jobs, education and educational opportunities, especially for poor kids, healthcare, environmental justice, good transportation to get people to and from work and school.
Focusing on being a team player with the police chief, with the sheriff, with the city leaders, and most importantly, those community-based organizations, we can really make some great strides in reducing crime.
Now, in terms of endorsements, we've got both local leaders and state leaders. John Butler has gotten the support from Norfolk Mayor Kenny Alexander. He even spoke at his campaign when he did announce that he was running for the race. And as for Fatahi, he's got leaders from progressive Democrats like Congressman Bobby Scott. Live here in Norfolk, Madison Schlegel, 13 News Now.